February 2nd, 2022 Douglas County Board of County Commissioners business meeting. We want to welcome any of you who are here with us at the old county courthouse or joining us virtually. To get started, here's a bit of information regarding how we'll run our hybrid meetings in person and on Zoom. Excuse me, I do have a cough. Each action item on the agenda will offer an opportunity for public comment specific to that topic. We ask that you wait until the item on that agenda has come up for discussion. Near the beginning of our agenda, before regular business, we will invite folks to offer general public comment, which is for items not on today's agenda, but related to general county business. All public comments should be directed to the county commission. We will hear from folks who are here in person first, then online commenters. All public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If you are joining us online, please use the raise your hand function on Zoom, where when the time comes and staff will call and unmute you one at a time. We ask that speakers give their full name and Douglas County residence for meeting minutes, and the county reserves the right to shut off the microphone and remove any speaker if they are vulgar, rude, or inappropriate. If visual aids are used during the meeting, the presenter will share their screen. Online participants will not, however, be able to view them without a computer, smartphone, or tablet. All of our agendas are published online, though, for review. Presenters will be made panelists and unmuted by staff as each agenda item comes up, and we ask that all online presenters use good conference call etiquette and stay muted when not speaking. Please also introduce yourselves each time you speak. The chat function is turned off, and a recording of this meeting will be available on our website and YouTube page after we adjourn. So for the beginning of our meeting, we've got the consent agenda. Commissioner Kelly, do you wish to pull anything off for discussion? Okay.
No, thank you.
Is there anybody in the public who wishes to pull anything off of our consent agenda for further discussion? Are we seeing anybody online, Sarah or Jill? Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
So I'm glad to make a motion, but before I do, I want to thank Pam Wigan. There's a report on the consent agenda for the Adult Community Corrections Year-End Outcome Report. It actually has some very good things to celebrate, and I appreciate Pam's work and her whole team's work on that Adult Community Corrections Year-End Outcome Report. So I just wanted to bring that up before I make a motion to approve items 1 through 8 on our consent agenda.
I will second that and bring it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, with that, we will move on to general public comment. As a reminder, especially for folks who just walked in, all public comment is going to be limited till 3 minutes. We ask that you please state your name and Douglas County residence for the meeting minutes. And if you have any materials that you would like to provide commissioners, you can either leave it up there or you can hand it to a deputy who's sitting behind and they will get it to us after the meeting.
Before we start public comment, can I get folks that are interested in making public comment, raise their hands and we'll have you sign up? Is there just 3, 4? Can we keep hands up for a minute so I can count? You guys are fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that it? Is there someone behind there? 5. Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and have everyone sign up then for the 5 people that want to speak so that we can keep the process moving orderly.
Thank you, Sarah. And the first person who's got their name down is welcome to go ahead and start our public comment. You'll just want to push the button on the microphone to make sure it turns green. Yes, you may.
Good evening. As a person with inalienable rights fully intact at a public meeting, I assure you.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but will you please state your name and where you live in Douglas County?
Good evening. My name is Susan Carey. I live in Lawrence, Kansas. As a person with inalienable rights fully intact at a public meeting, I assure you, not hearing what we have to say today will be extremely detrimental to you in both your public official position, but also in your individual capacity. What I have in my hands today will negate the immunity your position carries under many conditions and can lead to substantial personal financial loss. I assure you this will be worth your time to know. Kansas Statute 194201 through 194204 and Kansas 19504 talks about bonds and mentions the following. These are from the 2020 Kansas statutes. I quote, "Any elected official shall be deemed to have furnished surety if he is covered by a blanket bond purchased pursuant to this act. Without this bond, you are gone." There are 2 points here. The first being where you are now. You are in office with a proper bond required by law. The second point is where you will be when I and others file claims against these bonds for deprivation of rights under color of law. A handful of claims to your bond company will make your bond company cancel you. We've already spoken to the bond provider in Overland Park. He is quite eager to know all about our potential claims so his company can mitigate such losses. He was told we were just thinking about it for now because in our world, each individual who makes a mistake should be given a chance to remedy it first. Be assured, if we engage that adjuster with our claims, you will no longer be their customer. This means your political career will be over on any level as you will be red flagged from the bond world that is relied upon by all public officials. Now, if you are lucky, you will walk away relatively unscathed from your old career. But I know many upset people that may want to take further action if things don't change quickly. My name is Sue Herring. I'm here in Lawrence. Okay. My name is Sue Herring. I'm right here in Lawrence, Kansas. And I'm going to continue, which brings to mind just one more thing. While the Kansas requirements for bonding does not protect you from certain mistakes, while the requirements for bonding does protect you from certain mistakes, it does not protect you from acts and decisions that go against our inalienable rights. That Kansas statute also does not protect you from federal suits of which the avenue we would be suing for in federal district court under Title 42-1983 for deprivation of rights under color of law. Again, be reminded that when you commit a crime as you have, you can be sued in your individual as well as your official capacity. We will apply Title 18 USC 241 or 242, which says the following. Conspiracy against rights. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in any state in the free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution or laws of the United States, they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, they shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life or both, or may be sentenced to death.
Hi, I'm Kinsey. Think you remember me. I have here in my hand a notice of claim and an affidavit of fact that can be sent off expediently, excuse my vocabulary, to your bonding agent. Mine is asking for $1 million, although I don't want money. Others will decide what their money is that they're seeking. We will seek punitive damages in both official and individual capacities. Now, do you really believe that your insurance company will want to risk paying damages in the millions of dollars in defense of your actions for the amounts of which you are currently bonded? I don't think so. We've spoken to all of them and they gave me your information. If this mandate does not stop tonight, this legal process will move forward with myself and others who will assist. And I will say there are more people here that will assist in this than are in the room right now because they couldn't be here. The line is now drawn. Either stand down or prepare for the ramifications that will be brought against and bear against all of you. I personally assure you that I am not an attorney and therefore I am not bound to the procedures and rules which all of you are. They will often be powerless and against my legal actions as a person with inalienable rights to intact. The wheels of justice will be brought to bear in you in ways that you cannot even imagine. It all must stop tonight. That being said, we require a vote on any and all COVID guidelines. Please ask yourself how lucky you're feeling. Will you do the right thing according to the Constitution that you all signed? We demand a vote tonight that this commission commits to cease and desist from these abusive and unconstitutional COVID protocols once and for all. If not, we will hand over these claim forms and will assist others to do the same. The choice is yours, and I hope that you choose wisely. Now, I am going to speak on my own behalf. This is the legal piece of paper that we brought for all of you. I'll take my 1 minute and let you know. You guys remember me, I've been here several times. I abided by your rules and wore my pretty little scarf that my grandmother gave me to get in this building. We here are also standing for you. And I think that you don't understand maybe to the extent of why we keep coming and trying to speak to you as humans to humans, as woman to woman, as man to man. We want to help you all. If you don't have children, you have grandchildren, you have family. If you're being paid, you're being paid, and that's fine. We all are aware. We all are aware of the situation going on, and we have given you the opportunity to do the right thing. And unfortunately, you haven't. So we here would like to present you with some official documents. Thank you very much. My name's Kelsey, and I appreciate your time.
Papers for Shannon Portillo. I have papers for Shannon Reed. I have papers for Patrick Kelly. And I have papers for J.R. Grizzly.
Anybody else for public comment?
We have somebody at the microphone for public comments, so please go ahead.
I hear you.
So maybe like some of you, I don't really want to be here. I'm Keely. I live in Lawrence, and I've been a Douglas County resident for almost 10 years. I had a really hard day today. You guys are human. I know you've had hard days too. There's so many places that I would rather be than standing up here in front of you guys. But you have forced me to be here, and I accept that. I know this, though, I will never not be here. We are never going away. We will come to meeting after meeting after meeting and keep telling you all the same things, but we're not going away. I will never not be loud because I'm fearful of what someone's going to say about me or how the newspaper is going to paint me. I will never stand down to tyranny. I will never bow down to unlawful and cowardly people. I am here because you have forced me to be, and you have all acted unlawfully, period. As a sheriff, you have acted unlawfully. As a police officers, you have acted unlawfully. As county commissioners, no one gave you No one gave you the power to make a law or to force anyone to cover their faces. And you know what I find so interesting is that last time I was here and I spoke here and I walked out of the room and was walking down the hallway, two of your police officers tapped me on the shoulder, and you know what they said to me? They said, "Ma'am, I agree with everything you just said up there." And I said, "Then what are you doing?" And they said, "It's just the rules. This is what we were told to do. We have families to feed." Those people are on our side of this because they believe in truth and law. That's the oath that they took, and you guys are breaking it by not letting people in a public building for public comment. We have the right to be here. A lot of these people have medical exemptions that you refuse to acknowledge. For what reason? Under what law? Every single one of you have acted unlawfully. And you know who I'm talking about, the ones that stopped me outside the hallway when they told me they agreed with me, but still agreed to let people stay outside for refusing to wear a mask. That is a disgrace. We are not going away. We will be here at every meeting. We're not going to try to do everything we possibly can until you drop this mask mandate. That's all we're asking. We don't want your money. We don't want to make your lives hell. I'm a human to human. I bet you guys have families. I bet you are very loved. We are talking human to human, but you're not doing the right thing by trying to make a choice for other people and other children. It's unlawful, and we're never going to back down. We're going to keep coming until this mask mandate is dropped.
Is there anybody else here?
My name's Luke, and I'm a Douglas County resident. I've been here for over 10 years, and I agree with everything that they've said. I'm here for support of this bonding issue, and it's time to make a change, guys. This isn't working. We're not going to step down. It's time to make a change.
I would like to do just a short review. Pardon me? Joe. Okay. Short review. We're going on 2 years now. And first we were going to have 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Then we were going to have a lockdown. Then they were going to wear a mask. Then we were going to social distance 6 feet. Then it dropped to 3. Now it's back to 6. And maybe 2 masks would be better. Once we got a vaccine, which is not approved except for emergency use only, and it's not even a vaccine. So now here we are, almost 2 years. We have learned that the vaccines are not working. We've also learned that children of school age have almost a 0% chance of dying from COVID. In fact, they have a better chance of dying from an automobile accident. And still, our so-called authorities are pushing these shots into humans, children that are not fully approved. We have no idea what the long-term effects will be. And if people still think that ivermectin is a horse warmer after it's been used on humans over 4 billion times, won a Nobel Prize for medicine, if you're still believing all those things, you're not only asleep, but you're in a deep, deep coma, and you're not likely to wake up. All we're asking is for people to follow the law. That's all we've ever asked for. This has never been about health. It's been about control. It's been about money, and it's been about power. We know that there's very good prophylactic, cheap drugs that can treat COVID, but they're being suppressed. And there's a lot of crime being committed in the last 2 years. And it's my opinion that it will be prosecuted. I wouldn't want to be sitting in your shoes. I'll say that. Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the courthouse for public comment? No. I would like you to pull up your mask, your scarf, though. Okay. Okay. I mean, please join us online if you'd like to for the rest of the meeting. Is there anybody that is indicating they'd like to comment online, Jill? Okay, thank you. Okay. With that, we will move on to our regular agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more comment. Okay, we'll reopen general public comment.
My name's Rachel from Douglas County. I just have a question. I know you don't answer questions, but the last time we were here, you told us that you would allow for medical exemptions for the mask. No questions asked. So why is it that we cannot have a medical exemption to get into this building? We're taxpayers. You also said businesses, the same thing. We cannot get into the Lawrence Public Library because there's no medical exemptions. How has that changed? How are you honoring what you told us?
You're right. We do not generally respond to public comment. It is,
Convenient.
we have the ability for people to join us online and in person for this meeting. So our meetings remain accessible. And just like the courthouse across the lawn, where masks are required, even if people have exemptions, masks are required for entry into that building.
You told us you'd allow medical exemptions. That is not allowing medical exemption. Everyone in here is not worried about getting COVID. We are more than 6 feet away from you. If we want to sit by each other, what's that to you?
Do you have any further comment?
No?
Thank you. Just double check while general public comments open, see if anybody online has raised their hand. Okay, thank you. All right, our regular agenda item this evening is a legislative update from Stuart Little with Little Government Relations. Sarah, would you like to introduce this?
Yeah, thank you, commissioners. We're moving Stuart Little into the panel. He is our intergovernmental relations specialist with Little Government Relations, and he's here to give us our early session update on the legislative agenda. Stuart, I'll turn it over to you.
There we go. Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay, great. Good evening, commissioners. I am Stuart Little with Little Government Relations, and will provide some general comments. Happy to answer any questions that may arise. I wanted to thank you all for your work, and Sarah and Jill for the work they're doing, helping make sure that we are aware of issues that are going on and are helping us communicate to keep you all updated. You do have a written report in the packet from us. We are in the 4th week of the legislative session, 3 weeks left until we're halfway done. We are 8 weeks away from the end of the regular session, which should end, I think it's on April 2nd. So we are moving quickly with the date. The process and the issues are not necessarily moving quickly here in Topeka, but we have been, in the big picture, have been addressing redistricting, obviously an issue for the county, and the congressional maps that came out of passed the House and the Senate and are on their way to the governor. They will turn next to the House and Senate state districts, and have begun working on those. the legislature otherwise has been looking at some education issues, some vaccine related issues, COVID-19 related issues. But in general, lots of the attention has been taken up by the redistricting discussion. And so there are some things that we haven't got to yet in the process, but we're kind of just beginning to have some hearings on some of the big issues that are out there, as well as budget topics. And I'll talk about a couple of those. The governor has proposed the elimination of the sales tax on food. There are 4 different bills have been introduced. There were hearings in the House last week, Senate coming up this week. And most of all the bills eliminate the sales tax on food. One of them is much broader and eliminates the sales tax on food purchased in restaurants. Also includes farmers markets in there. So it's a significant, there's some significant differences in costs when you add farmers markets in. It's another $300 million. Both the Kansas Association of Counties, the League of Municipalities have been appearing to clearly state, as all local government entities are, that the decisions with regard to local sales taxes are local decisions that are made as well, and want to ensure that it stays that way. We're aware of and been preparing for a variety of property tax issues to come up. They have not thus far. We're kind of moving pretty slowly on the property tax front, and I think we will get to those in a little bit. One thing to note, as we have been following along in terms of local valuation, the dark store theory that was part of a legal case in Johnson County has been picked up by now the state Supreme Court. So we're going to get some action on that. I don't know how the timing will work on that. I can't imagine we have a decision from the Supreme Court before the session is over, but that is kind of moving around in the environment now. Before I get too much deeper into a couple of other policy issues, bills, I would note some of the things in the budget, the governor's budget recommendation. That was obviously one of the big items that was unveiled. We're getting ready this coming week to begin, or this week and then into the next week, starting the beginnings of budget process. A couple of things I would note of interest to the county: the crisis center funding is in the KDAD's budget. So this should get us, or I guess it's our 3rd year of having that commitment from the state to add additional funding to help with the crisis center. There are conversations going about additional funding for bids to open up the ability for the state to provide more of those services. There was a budget hearing this week in one of the budget committees, and their recommendation was this issue was kind of significant enough to have the full budget committees take a look at it. So that's making its way through. One of the things that is the community corrections funding, the governor recommended an additional $9 million statewide for the grants going to community corrections agencies. So that'll be helpful for that part of the county. And then one issue that we've kind of always talked about and kept on our radar, the 988 suicide hotline. We are still in the process of, last year there were dollars appropriated to begin kind of planning and organization for that. The long-term funding stream issue is still out there, and there was nothing done in the budget, but that's kind of on lots of folks' radars. We're watching that. In terms of policy, and I'm going to be really frank with you, there were probably 200 bills of interest that came out in the last 10 days. And so the list of bills that you have are extensive. One of the things that I think the snow days are allowing us to do here in the legislature is get a look at some of these bills. There are a variety of election bills and I would kind of note, particularly for the administration, that at some point, to when you hear from department and division folks about some of the impacts of some of these bills, that's going to be helpful in guiding us going forward. There are a number of election bills that have been introduced, a number of housing bills that have been introduced that all have potential to have relevance. There are some juvenile justice bills that have been introduced at the same time, and topics that we've followed along. So there is a lot of legislation. Obviously, most bills that are not heard, and even fewer of them are passed. So we're going to be filtering through a lot of those kinds of things. But at this point, We're slow on property tax. The budget process is going, redistricting's taking shape. And at this point, we still are not heavily into hearings. I would note, I kind of started out by saying we're 3 weeks away from the midpoint turnaround point of the session. So I think what is likely going to happen is before this all is said and done, we're not going to see a lot of policy bills. We're going to have property tax, education, some public health issues out there. And I think those are going to be probably some of the highest priorities. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you had any.
Thank you for that, Stuart. This is Commissioner Reed. I actually had a question about, well, I thought I had highlighted it in the memo and now I'm having a hard time finding it again. The property tax issues around, or exemptions, I believe, around utility scale wind or solar. Could you speak a bit on that and just help me be clear as possible about where that's at right now or where you think it's headed next?
Well, these, I believe, are the ones that are imposing sales tax on utilities. I believe that's one of the set of issues that are out there that that would allow that to happen. There are some solar and wind issues in there with regard to local county authority to manage zoning and those kinds of issues in some places that are having solar and wind stuff. I'm looking for the property tax one in particular, but there are property tax bills that are imposing the sales tax on utilities and also video and those kind of things.
Stuart, this is Sarah. Maybe just as you get that legislation pulled together, that's something we could talk about and determine if it's something we need a little bit more information on.
Right.
Given that we have a current text amendment in front of the Planning Commission for solar. So that's a great heads up and we'll look into it a little further.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Commissioner Kelly, I think it's Senate Bill 325 related to zoning and re-coordination of wind and solar energy resources. That's the one that I think Sarah will probably want to follow up with you a little bit.
Yes. And
then we
that,
wanna follow closely because we have some things coming through our planning department that are coming our way that I think the timing of them is going to be especially crucial.
no, absolutely. And the first round of those hearings were held this week, and at the state level, the Kansas Association of Counties was there testifying. So yeah, that's obviously, we'll have a chance to follow up with our folks that are on that committee as well. So.
This is Commissioner Reed again. Thanks for that. I don't have any other questions. How about you, Commissioner Kelly?
No, that was my main question. And I would guess maybe one other to fill us in on is as you look at budget, and we're real interested in bids for our public defender's office here in Douglas County. I noticed you had 2 items related to bids and just wanted to check and see if that was included in their budget.
They asked for $3.9 million, I believe, in increased funding. And I don't think the governor did that, added those dollars in. And I believe we submitted some testimony in that budget hearing. It's obviously got to make its way through both sides, the House and the Senate, and they have not resolved those final recommendations. So, and of course, obviously, there's the policy bill that raises the threshold for automatically qualifying for attorneys, which I'm assuming we're right around that threshold. So.
Yes, Commissioner Kelly, our understanding is that the proposal for a bids office in Douglas County was not included in the governor's budget. We've been working with the Bureau of Indigent Defense related to their presentations in front of Ways and Means and budget committees to try to lobby to have that included. My understanding is, and Stuart will help me, they were in front of the Senate this week or the
Senate
House?
this week, that's
Senate
right.
this week, and then they'll be in front of the House in February. So at this point, we're not in the recommended budget.
It's Commissioner Reed. Okay, well, thank you for that update. We appreciate your time and work in Topeka. Hope the snow days give you some time to sort out things before you're back in sessions.
Great. Thank you very much. If you have questions, happy to follow up.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to appointments. I did just want to note that last week we briefly discussed a couple of non-lawyer members to the Judicial Nominating Commission, both in mine and Commissioner Portillo's district. We've got a little bit of time before those reappointments need to happen again, so just wanted to defer that till the 9th when we are all three seated again, and Commissioner Portillo and I can discuss those at the same time. Does Commissioner Kelly or Sarah, do we have any other appointments up? Okay. With that, we'll move on to miscellaneous items. Sarah, what do you have for us?
Commissioners, my memo is in the packet, just added some additional dates to put on your calendar. So if you could take a look at those, the new one added is the election canvas for the Eudora Library mail ballot we want to get that on our calendars early for March. Also, in terms of appointments, we added a Grant Township appointment for the Fair Board. The Fair Board struggled in trying to find someone in Grant Township to serve on the Fair Board. So if you know anybody in Grant Township that'd like to serve, they're looking for nominees, and I'd be glad to talk to you a little bit more about that, Commissioner Reed. And that's all I have, Commissioners.
Thanks, Sarah. Commissioner Kelly, do you have anything to add?
No, nothing else. Thank you.
Okay, well, I don't have anything miscellaneous either. So with that, we are adjourned.